we've had to move our usual face-to-face services to a more virtual setting, we've all had to learn how to use our new digital platforms such as Zoom or Skype. Even our own sight loss advisors have had to get to grips with the new technology. Luckily, Andrew, our assistive technology coordinator, is always on hand to provide support and help you get set up with these new digital services. Graham Ross, who up until a few weeks ago had never even used Zoom, now joins us for a Zoom chat about all the new things he's learned through Andrew's help. So, hello, Graham.
Hello.
First of all, do you want to tell us about your eye condition and how it affects your vision?
Yeah, so I was born with glaucoma, and I was in St. Paul's Eye Hospital when I was 2 weeks old. I was the youngest baby that they'd ever had in there with an eye condition. We had 2 operations, a German one and an English one. And the English one sort of saved most of my sight. I went on to normal primary school, junior school. My mum did go to the doctor and see about me going to a blind school, St. Vincent's, but the doctor said no. He just put him down the front of the class near the blackboard, and he should be all right. So we went through that, no problems with that. Went to normal secondary modern school. Obviously, I had the very thick glasses, that looked like milk bottles.
Yeah.
And went through there, no problems. And got left school with no qualifications, really. And then we went off to Food Technology College. We did 3 years there. And then we got a job in a local food manufacturing company. My eyesight was starting to go a little bit, but I'd lost it in the right eye and the left eye. I could still, read the newspapers and get around, no problem. So we went off and did freelance photography after that. We did all the beauty contests that they did then, the Miss England, and that's in Blackpool, Morecambe and Southport, New Brighton. And then we went off to Europe, and we worked in bars in Italy and Greece. And then that's my problem was I didn't start putting the drops in, and of course the pressure in the eyes started to rise. So anyway, we came back home and we were on the dole. And they sent me down to Letchworth, and we did a short course on light engineering. Came back up to Liverpool. I had a flat on my own then. When I came back from Letchworth, I ended up in the blind workshops in Cornwallis Street, and that was depressing beyond Dickens. It really was. The attitude was, there was one light bulb and all these men were in these big looms, making these coconut mats. And the attitude was, well, what do we want light bulbs for? The blind. And I was in there as a supervisor and had reasonable sight. And then slowly it went, and we went to another firm. I was sort of like subcontracted out to another firm where we made kits up for cars, for exhausts and wing mirrors and that sort of thing. And I went into hospital and my sight went altogether. And I come back home and I thought, I'm going to have to go back to the blind workshops as a blind person. And I thought, I just, having seen them, because they were all been there 30, 40 years, they were all quite institutionalized. And I thought, I'm going to become one of these people. I was just weeks in tears, and in the end, I phoned the boss up who I'd been subcontracted to and said, I've lost my sight. I'm going to have to go back to the blind workshops. Said, oh, it was a really hard boss. Take a week off and then we'll send a wagon round for you and we'll sort something out. And my brother came down with me, and all the kits were sort of like 6 nuts, 6 bolts, 6 washers and something else. And we made all the kits up and we put them all on cassette, and we carried on for another 23 years. So we did quite well. After
Wow.
actually thinking of going back, and well, I wasn't suicidal, but I was really depressed, sort of thing. And for a man to cry in front of his mum and dad, sort of thing, it was just about as low as I've ever been, I think.
Very hard, I can imagine, yeah.
The rest of it was that obviously we didn't have the mobile phones, weren't out then, so we were on fares to work with taxis, and then we'd stand outside. We were on this big industrial estate, and we were still there at 8 o'clock at night, waiting, for somebody to come and pick us up. So we had to wait for the cleaners to come to use the phone and ask them where they were. So that's what sort of decided me to, to get a guide dog.
Your glaucoma hasn't necessarily affected your job.
No.
Being able to find work.
Yeah.
So what is your vision like? What can you see?
Nothing at all now.
Nothing at all.
No.
What did Andrew help you with? What have you learned?
Well, we went and got the 2020, the new iPhone, and they set it up in the shop, but half of it was missing. So when we downloaded Seeing AI, it didn't do half the things that it was supposed to. So Andrew did that over the phone on the lockdown. We've also done how to sort of use Amazon and order stuff off Amazon, which we're not too confident. We've even tried it using, the A-Lady, because you can put in either your voice code or, your voice, but you don't get much choice. You just suggest what's top of the list sort of thing, and you got to take that. So we've left Amazon alone at the moment, and what we're wanting to move on to now is try and use Facebook sort of thing.
Has he taught you how to use Zoom and how to...
Yes. Sometimes when we did get onto Zoom, every time somebody came on, Siri would tell me, there was somebody else. So I had to get onto Andrew to how to turn Siri off, which he sorted that out for us and that sort of thing.
To someone who's never heard of Zoom and doesn't know how it works, how did he manage to teach you, sort of, obviously because you can't do it face to face, it's all done on the phone, it's very difficult. How did he manage that?
Well, he just set it all out and sent me a link, and obviously you double tap on the link, but on some of them, if you go too far down, it gives you sort of like audio link, video link, turn video off, turn audio off, and I was doing all these, whereas he reset it all, and now we just go down, find the link to Zoom, double tap on it, and then you just go into like the waiting room and we're there sort of thing. But it took we had to sort of reset everything again, so it took him a good hour, over the phone to sort it all out for us.
And do you think it's easy now to use, now that you know?
Yes, yeah, no problem now.
And have you used it to access our Zoom sessions, the Talking Tech social?
Yes, and also the Tuesday social.
Right, and what do you think of those?
Yeah, it's good. It's a bit awkward if you want to speak because somebody else is speaking. Obviously there's no eye contact or anything, or some way. So people sometimes two or three people are talking over each other, sort of thing. But when we do the tech talk, obviously Andrew mutes everybody, so you just get him and whoever is the presenter, and then after that you unmute and you can ask any questions then. And
what do you think lockdown would have felt like for you without these new digital capabilities?
Fortunately, my brother only lives around the corner, but with working shifts, he only comes sort of once a week. But with having Seeing AI, I can now read, the letters that come, which are mostly bills. But, it saves waiting for him to come round.
Where do you think you'd be without the technology and the help?
I'd probably always I'd use my phone for would be the weather and the time sort of thing, because Andrew sort of helped us download, Soundscape and Blind Square. So they're all things that you can have in your ear as you walk along. They're all assistance sort of thing. It's helped a great deal. And so we do really get stuck. It's an emergency. It's either you'd have to go up to Aintree to the O2 shop, or sort of ring Andrew and then say, yeah, this is what's happened. Can you ring us back, sort of thing. So yeah, the emails and the texts have been ideal, especially if you can use Siri and you can just speak.
How much support do you feel that you've had from Galloway's, in terms of all this technology help?
100%. Every time I've asked Andrew, he's either said, when we were able to go down to the office to make an appointment, or he's made an appointment over the phone, and he's phoned me back. So it's been like 100% support. Because even Carl, when we first started the lockdown in March, Carl used to phone up every week to see how things were, and that was fine.
And what are you hoping to gain in the future from Galloway's? Are there any new skills you are developing that you want to learn? More tech support?
To continue on with the tech support, and also if there's any sort of basic cooking skills, because all I've got is a microwave. We're limited in some ways to what we can, other than frozen meals or something out of a can. If you wanted to cook steak or sausages, it's a bit hit and miss if you got no sight at all when the actual product is cooked.
What would you say to people who are thinking of supporting us by way of making a donation or doing fundraising for us?
With the way things are, all the charities now are looking for sponsorship, and this is the right sponsorship, because it just, even though you're blind or partially sighted, it opens the doors that would be shut otherwise with technology, because that's changing all the time with various items. Even so, I'm waiting for this parcel which has got from Cobalt a thermometer that talks, so it can take me temperature should ever get COVID. I hope not, but it's just small things like that make life so different. Even sort of liquid level indicator, say if you're pouring boiling water all over the floor and things.
Right. So why is it important to you then that people do continue to support us in the future?
Because unfortunately it could happen to them that they may need something like Galloway's to help them if their sight does vary.
Andrew, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, absolutely. So just want to thank Graham for coming on today and talking about his experiences. But I think it highlights a really important point that everybody has the ability to use this type of technology. And I've known Graham for quite a long time. Graham's actually really good on his iPhone. He's really developed his skills over the last couple of years. I think when we went into the lockdown with COVID, I think that presented new barriers, new problems. People maybe thinking that we might not be able to support them with technology, but other people, we've helped lots of other people similar to Graham in his situation where, we can provide support over the telephone. We can do it remotely over the internet. And I think one of the most important things has been making sure people like Graham are connected to Galloway's on a regular basis. And, Graham comes on a lot of our tech talks. And I think it's important that we keep opening doors for people like Graham. And then they need that extra bit of support, because I think Zoom, using services like Zoom, even for those people that are quite techie, has been a new thing really for people to get used to and become, it's kind of a long-term thing now that we all meet on Zoom. So a lot of clients, a lot of beneficiaries of Galloways have needed that type of support where we walk them through connecting to a meeting. What are the best settings for the device? How do you interact with the app whilst you're in the meeting? And for a lot of the time, we've actually been doing kind of little kind of test meetings with people just so they get used to using the platform before they actually join one of our tech meetings. And Graham's one of the kind of first people that we did that with.
Andrew, I think when you open the door for somebody like myself, you need to give them a bit of a push as well. Because sometimes we just stay there. We do lose like a lot of confidence with these phones. So we do need a lot of encouragement and a shove.
Absolutely. I think I do a lot of shoving and a lot of pushing, I think. And I think, Graham will probably tell you that I have said to him a couple of times, come on, we can do this. It hasn't worked this time, but we'll try it again. And I think that's the most important thing. And Graham's right. You've got to give people confidence. They do need sometimes an extra bit of support, because we've got to remember that when you're visually impaired or you're blind or you're partially sighted, things sometimes do take longer, and then that can leave people feeling less confident. But we must remember that everybody's got the ability, or as I would say, the tech ability, to do these things. So Graham's a really good example of someone who's kind of come out the other side of that.
Well, thank you very much, Graham, for speaking to us, and also to Andrew for all your technology support. If you have become inspired by Graham's story, you can make a donation to our winter appeal by visiting galloways.org.uk/Graham-Ross. Thank you. Bye.